we're going to perform an inspection on this house. I performed this inspection and a few years ago, and we're going to go through it. I'm going to show you all the slides and videos that I took during the inspection, and we can talk about performing an inspection. We can talk about software and writing reports, talking about business and marketing, scheduling, time management is really important, branding, marketing, websites, how to calculate a profitable inspection fee. It's not based upon feeling or what your competitors are doing. Handling complaints. How do you handle complaints? Have you ever been sued? I have. Have you ever been an expert witness in court? I have. We can talk about anything you want. How to talk to real estate agents, anything you want while we're performing an inspection on this house. Okay? So I'm Ben Gromicko from Internachi. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. We are the world's largest organization of certified home inspectors. We essentially train and certify home inspectors all over the world, all online. And all of that training and certification, marketing services, business, and products, all that stuff is available to our members, and all the training and certification is free to our members as well. All the design for marketing. We have a member marketing team. All their work is free for our members. So go online at nachi.org/contact to see the full-time staff. There are over 30 full-time employees at Internachi, and we all work for you. That's a huge membership benefit that you may not be taking advantage of. Imagine hiring 30 people, full-time staff, to work on your business. That's all we do at Internachi. So in the education department, for example, there are 6 full-time staff and a few part-time staff working on education. In the marketing department, there's a handful. There's 7 full-time staff people, highly creative, intelligent members of marketing team. Imagine hiring 7 people to work on your marketing strategies, right? Designing your logos, designing your business cards and flyers. That's insane. So we provide all of that service for our members for free. And you can find us all at nachi.org/contact. If you have not called somebody in the marketing team, for example, you are making a mistake. Call them right up and ask the following questions. The one question: what can you do for my business today? Right? Call them up. If you can't find everything, we made a page for you. It's called Everything page. It's at nachi.org/everything. And on this page, we put 15 steps to be a successful home inspector. And if you follow all 15 steps, that is an amazing boost to your business. You can be a new inspector or a veteran inspector. The information that's on that page, nachi.org/everything, will help your business. We put all the good, juicy stuff there. So you don't have to be on your own trying to find out where to find out everything. It's all there, nachi.org/everything. This is Nachi TV. I'm Facebooking live, but you can't see my slides, right? So to see my slides and to participate in the live interactive class that we have on Nachi TV every month with other students, you have to register for the class. And when you register, you get a link to the video recording. So go to nachi.tv, nachi.tv. To attend this class right now, you can pop right in. There's plenty of room. Or you could register for the next free live online class. If you're new and you don't know what to do and you need a coach, here's a really good service. InspectorCoach.com. 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 There you'll find a coach. I know her. And she'll help you build a successful home inspection business in 8 steps. 8 steps, and it's a 2-month program. And Go there now, inspectorcoach.com, and you can download a free 8-step guide to build your home inspection business. And it's free. So there are no secrets to this coaching service. There are 8 steps to build a successful home inspection business, and they're available as a free download. If you need a coach to help you along the way, to answer your questions, coach you, guide you, hold you accountable, to make sure you're going in the right path, then hire a coach, right? I would go there and download the free guide to 8 steps to build a successful home inspection business. There's also a free orientation webinar. I'd register for that and see if you need coaching. If you're a new inspector and don't know what to do next, and you don't want to waste your time and money guessing on how to build a successful home inspection business, and you want to go from 0 to 60 in 8 seconds or in 8 steps, go to inspectorcoach.com. My job here today is to show you what I did to gross $1,000 a day as a home inspector. I was a home inspector for a dozen years in southeastern PA near Philadelphia. A lot of competition, a lot of home inspectors, a lot of real estate agents, a lot of real estate going on. And before that, I built homes. I built 3 homes and a barn. And before that, I was a radon tester and a radon mitigation system installer. Right? So I've been in this business for a long time. And I want to share with you what I did to be hugely successful. We had a multi-inspector firm, and we each made a lot of cash. And that's what you want to do when you go into business. You want to make a lot of money and have a great living. If you want a good living, get a good job. If you want to make a great living and make a ton of cash and have a lot of fun doing it, you go into business. But it's a lot of hard work. And how do you do it? Well, there are steps that you need to take to build a successful, profitable home inspection business. I would recommend getting a coach or utilizing the services that Internachi provides to members for free. I want to share with you what I did. This is my typical day as a home inspector, making $1,000 a day. That sounds pretty good, making $1,000 a day. At 7 o'clock, I start my day, leave my house. At 4:30, I'm home playing with the kids. I'm working in the yard, not doing a lick of work. I'm done at 4:30, and I'll show you how I did that. So at 7 o'clock, I leave my house. I arrive at the job early. Where I come from, if you are on time, you are late. So I arrive early, and I'm ready to go. But I'm not going to waste my time. If I'm there early, I'm going to do some work. So I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the exterior or maybe the roof. I don't have to bother the homeowner or get permission from the listing agent to enter the house, so I might as well work. And I go up on the roof. You are not required to go up on a roof, but that's what I did, and we'll talk about that more. Around 8:15, I'm inside the house because the roof and the exterior, they're not that time-consuming, frankly, right? Time-consuming roofs are ones that you can't access very easily, so you have to hump your ladder around, or the exterior has a lot of restrictions and has many different types of materials on the exterior covering, and there are a lot of defects. Defects slow you down. Defects make the job really exciting. It's a lot of fun. After you do it for a dozen years, you're looking for defects because they're fun. In the beginning, defects are very difficult, to communicate well to your client. You'll get a hang of it. But anyways, I'm done with the roof and exterior, half hour. And then I go inside with my client and I invite my client in. And for about an hour, I'm doing the heavy systems. HVAC, hot water source, water supply, drain waste vent plumbing, water coming in, water coming out, and then electrical and structure, probably another half hour or so. And around 10 o'clock, I'm looking for the unfinished attic spaces under the roof. And when I'm there, I know that I'm done, essentially. because I've been there for 2 hours. I've got all the heavy stuff done, roof, exterior, and all the other systems. And now I'm in the attic and I'm thinking interior, bathrooms, bedrooms, garage, kitchen, and I'm done, right? I've got 1 more hour left. So I schedule at 8 o'clock and at 12 o'clock. 8 o'clock, I'm there early, and I want to finish at 11. So that's 3 hours. If you're doing an inspection that takes you more than 3 hours, that's okay. But you may want to think about time management, because you only have so much time to make so much money. And always think about a fraction where there's a dollar amount on the top of the fraction, the numerator, there's a line, and there's a denominator, there's the bottom of the fraction, and this bottom goes into that. And you want to divide money by your time. You want to divide money, the amount of money, the gross amount of money that you make during an inspection, by your time. And for me, it was about $500 divided by about 5 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. So I was making, all of our inspectors were making about $100 to $125 an hour gross. It's math. This isn't, you're not guessing. You're not looking at your neighbor's, your competitor's website charging $200, right? And, oh, well, I guess I should charge $200. No, it's all about math. So in general, though, you want to divide the amount of money that you make by your time. So the key is to increase your gross revenue, right, the top, and divide it by a small amount of time. You want to be efficient with your time. You want to squeeze that denominator so it's really small, right? So you have a big amount of money divided by a small amount of time. There's only a couple ways of doing that, and I'll show you how. But what changed my life was to go mobile. So I was able to do 2 home inspections a day in 3 hours each and reduce my time per inspection and not work in the evening by going mobile, by putting your, oh, I'm using my mobile device, by putting your software on your mobile device. So my iPhone is being used right now for Facebook Live. So I can't show you my software, but all my other classes, in my future classes, I'll show you a device and I'll show you some software that you could use. So at 11 o'clock, if I start at 7, 11 o'clock, I'm getting paid and I'm thinking about lunch, driving to my next inspection, changing my shirt, and starting at 12 o'clock. Hopefully I can get there early because I want to come home. At 4 o'clock, I'm back in the office, making sure everyone's okay. All the money's put in and all the radons are placed and all the radons are picked up, etc. And at 4:30, I'm home. That's a nice day. And I made a ton of money being a home inspector in this way. And this is my day. This may not look like your day, but this is what I want to share with you. This is what worked with me, and hopefully you can gain some insight on what will work for you. Let's inspect this house, huh? Enough talking. So if I get there early, it's going to take me about 15 minutes to inspect the roof, which includes getting up on the roof. That's what I did. I built houses. I had a ton of ladders. Carried a 40-foot aluminum ladder, 28-foot fiberglass ladder, all the way down to crawl space gear, right? So you're not required to walk upon any roof surface according to the standards of practice. Standards of practice, what's that? Well, it's at nachi.org SOP at that URL. That's the standard to which you perform a home inspection. It's actually the absolute minimum for performing a home inspection. So if someone says, oh, I perform a home inspection strictly according to the standards of practice, that person is doing the absolute minimum, right? So home inspection industry, the home inspector, we like to talk about the standards of practice and exceeding the standards of practice and exposing yourself to liability and all that stuff. Well, without getting too much into the legal arguments in this class, we can do it in other classes or online. I exceeded the standards of practice consistently for all my clients, and that's okay. I walked upon the roof surface. It's a dangerous thing to do. I do not recommend it for you. Don't go up on any roof surface, even if it's a flat roof on a one-story building. Don't do it. You're not required to do it, but I did. I exceeded the standards of practice. I was comfortable with it, and it was part of my marketing. Well, it's part of my brand. My brand was that we carried tall ladders and we got up on every roof. So when I get up on the roof, I take pictures while I'm up there. Why not? Pictures are free. Snap a couple hundred for the entire inspection, maybe 50 to 75 during the roof inspection. And I'm going to be done in about 15, 20 minutes, right? Let's see. Let's make sure everything's going well. Can everybody still hear me? Any questions? I haven't seen any new questions popping up. So Jeremy asks, I'm thinking about being an inspector, but I'm partially physically disabled. Will that stop me from being an effective inspector? Gosh, I do not know, right? That's a very general question. I know many inspectors who have physical challenges, right? Many of them have things, they come from the trades and their hands are kind of beat up. Their knees are not working well. I met an inspector yesterday. He has a lot of trouble doing crawl spaces or anything actually that requires him to bend over, right? Because he had a spinal thing. I know that there are inspectors out there who are doing fantastic work for people who aren't as physically able as maybe some of the younger folk out there. And that's okay, because I believe that it's not physically demanding as other jobs like a roofing or a contractor or a builder or things like that, where you have to pick up heavy things and stretch yourself out a lot physically. So a home inspector is like, it's up here in your head. What you want to do is share all the knowledge that you have, right? After you perform a visual inspection. Remember, a home inspection is a visual only inspection, right? And you have a lot of information that you want to share with your clients. So it's a head job. It's above your shoulders, at least above the waistline, right? I say go for it. Don't let anything get in your way. You don't have to disclose or tell people or anything like that, right? Because it's really all about talking, communicating, visually inspecting, being able to identify components, and being able to report upon the defects that you see and deem to be major. And you can do that, you know. So it's a difficult question for me to answer from way over here, but I think you probably already know the answer. And I'm highly supportive of it. It's a visual only inspection. It's not physically demanding. How many roof picks do you put in the report, Clay asks. About 8, maybe 9, 6, so something like that. I tend to put them 3 across, 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 in the section of the roof section. So 3 rows times 3, that's 9, right? But I'll take maybe 50. And software that I'm familiar with will do the CYA pictures and the report pictures. So you can pop your inspection while you're performing inspection. You should be mobile, using a mobile piece of software, writing your report. And as you see the cracked shingle, you tap your standard narrative, a sentence or two about, I observe evidence of a cracked shingle and needs to be repaired by a roofer. And then you click another button and you take a picture of it. And that goes in the report. You can also snap like crazy, snap, 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 the entire roof. And that could be stored and archived in the folder of your inspection service, but not necessarily put in the report, right? I'm going to go over the inspection report for this inspection if you want to hang out with me, right? And it's also available. We have sample reports as well. It's highly valuable to look at another inspector's inspection report. So that's what you should be doing. And we have those sample inspection reports. If you need them, it's on that /everything page. Your coach should be able to give you sample reports to look at. And you could also email the education department. Charles, are you uploading images to report software or just capturing them in that 15 minutes? No, I'm writing my report as I inspect because I want to get that, remember, denominator as small as possible. Money divided by time is where you manage your, is where you find profit. It's time management, really. Being efficient with your time. So I'm taking 50 to 75 pictures of the roof. 9 of them show up in my report. And your software should be able to help you with that. Did you report a lack of ventilation in plastic baffled ridge venting? This sample has no ridge vent. Right. Ideally, in this area, in this climate, you want soffit vents and ridge vents. I love that type of ventilation. But by seeing this from the outside, you aren't quite sure. I wouldn't report any defects quite yet until I get my head under the roof, right? I want to see, that's kind of an odd thing. I see the jealousy window. So where's the unfinished part of the attic? I can't tell from here, right? So I'm going to be quiet. I see a powered fan. I see a gable vent. I see a jealousy window that's closed. So I don't know what's going on quite yet, and I don't have to comment too much. When I'm doing on a mobile software, it's fantastic because you pick up, I'm just going to pretend this is my iPhone. When you pick up your mobile software and you're doing the roof inspection and entering comments about the roof and you see attic space, you can just simply pop out of that section and wait until you're in the unfinished attic parts, right? Unfinished attic, that's a section in my report, attic or unfinished attic. And then I'll just wait, I'll make some comments. I observe a power fan, a roof vent, no ridge vent. I'm not sure about soffits yet, haven't been there. And I see louvered gable and some kind of jealousy window, but I'm just gonna mental note that and take a snap picture. I'm gonna wait. And when I get back into the attic, now I can comment intelligently about what's going on. Who knows what's going on? Ideally, you're right. I love soffit and ridge. On an older home, such as this, it would be amazing to see soffit and ridge. Jason, can you speak briefly about walking on lightweight metal roofing, the ones that look like shingles? I don't walk on them. I walk on flat roofs, metal roofs, standing seam, welded seam, something with sheathing underneath, the decking underneath. But I'm not going to walk upon anything where I think it's going to. I didn't walk on any slate, any clay tile, especially any odd kind of materials. Most homes in my area were asphalt shingles, 95% of them. So I had no problems with that. In your area, you have to be careful, right? If you think you're going to damage something, stop. What is your limit pertaining to slope? That one looks steep. It certainly does. So you'll see I'm moving my ladder around, unfortunately. I hate that. I would love to have some kind of vantage point where I go on and I can walk just about everything, right? That is steep. I love 412. On 612, I get nervous and I'm done, right? Unless there's a valley. So a valley slope is the slope of that valley right in the middle is lesser than the two slopes coming together that meet and make that valley. So I'd go up that, but yep, I'm not going 612. I once followed a roofer up on. I hate going up on roofs, but I did it for business. I see things when I go up there that I wouldn't have normally been able to see, and it's part of my brand. I once followed a roofer up on a house that he was purchasing. Don't do that. Don't ever follow a roofer up on a roof. They're like squirrels. Do you have or ever used a drone for roof inspections? I have a drone. I use them for fun because I'm not FAA certified for commercial purposes. So if you're going to use a drone, you have to take the pilot's license. To prepare for the pilot's license, Internachi has a free online drone preparation course. to help you, to prepare you to pass that exam. And it's free and online. It's huge, but it's free and online to Internachi members. If you want to take that FAA exam, you have to become essentially a pilot of an unmanned aircraft, right? It's a pilot exam. You have to take it and register and to do anything commercial, right? Otherwise, the FAA says you better be doing it for fun and don't be flying around airports. Don't be flying high. Yeah. So the fun part about drone is if I had a competitor next to me who was using a drone and I wasn't, the fun part of business is how do I beat my competitor? Because she's adding extra value to her services by being a drone pilot. Now, how do I compete against her? How do I figure out that value proposition that she's proposing, that she's offering? How do I beat it, right? Well, to beat a drone, right, I assume I would make sure my website and my marketing materials are flooded with pictures of me touching defects on top of the roof, right? Because you're in a drone. So that's the disadvantage to drones. You know, you can't touch anything. You can't lift anything. You can't feel anything. You can't scrape anything. You can't get close to anything. You literally are 100 feet away. I'm gonna beat you in the market. I bet I get you. There's no way you're gonna beat me. And that's the fun part of marketing. That's the fun part of being in business. You have to figure out how to be the best. And that's the value proposition that you need. If the perceived value is far greater than the cost, it's a great decision for your client to hire you. So now, right, we're all doing the same thing. We're all performing in a home inspection. It's a commodity. One home inspection service is kind of like the other. It's kind of like a watch. They all tell the same time, right? Who's more accurate, maybe. But a home inspection is almost like a commodity. What's different is the fee that you charge and who wants to charge a low fee. And it's the value. So the value that you provide to your client, if it's overwhelming to them, if the perception of that value to your client is just has fantastic value, I have to hire this person, you can demand higher fees. So you have to think, what is the value? If a drone you think is providing greater value, then go for it, right? As a competitor, I'm going to try to figure out how to provide value that's equal to or greater than what you're doing, so I can charge more or just as much. It's so much fun being in business. Jonathan, I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize. Is there a 6-month membership for Internachi? Internachi members have a choice. You can pay month to month, $49 a month, cancel anytime, or you can save some money and pay for an entire year membership ahead for $499. And those are the two options. So it's month to month or per year. Okay, let's get back. Those were the questions, good questions. So here's some pictures that I took while I'm on the roof. I typically take a picture of every plane and the ridge. So I took a picture of the ridge, front half, back half, front corner. Now the ridge looks good, ridge. That's my money shot. That's probably, try to put that on my website or in the inspection report. Why? Because that goes to show my brand. That's my feet on your roof, right? That beats a drone, right? Me touching your ridge is how careful I am in my visual inspection. I'm not just flying a drone around the house and snapping pictures. I actually want to get up and close and make sure everything is in good shape with my hand. I'm going to put that in the report. Why do I put pictures like that in the report instead of that or that? I want my hand there because that's part of my brand, and the best marketing piece in my entire company is my inspection report, because that gets passed around more than my business card. Business cards, you throw them away. Flyers, But an inspection report that's in a binder like this. This is my inspection report binder. Oh, this is my inspection report binder. I put my inspection report in a 3-ring binder. I print it black and white. The report is color and digital. And there's a home maintenance book, right? This gets passed around, right? People read this, and by the time they get to the last page of my inspection report, they should be convinced that I'm the best home inspector in the world. And they've got to hire me. This guy's really good. Look at his report. Look at all the pictures. Look at the pictures of him touching the crack. Look at him stepping on the asphalt shingles, right? So your inspection report is your best marketing piece. You should work on it every day. If your narrative needs to be tweaked, you tweak it right when you're on the roof, right? Or maybe when you get down, so it's safer. By the end of the inspection report, the reader should be convinced that you're the best home inspector in the world. So make sure you put the right pictures in the report. So those are the 2 things. I don't know what's going on. Jealousy, glass windows, and a gable vent. What? I'll just keep going. Nice counter flashing, nice step flashing, kind of cool. Really sealed up, fastened well, nothing loose. That chimney, there's a defect at this chimney. What is it? Who can tell me what the defect in the chimney is? Very good, Charles, that's awesome. Peter, that's really good. Yes. So this is a hugely wide chimney stack with no cricket or saddle behind it. A saddle or cricket flashing is kind of like a small ridge gable roof behind the chimney on the back side of the chimney stack. This is like the apron, this is the back, and this is the step flashing and counter flashing, right? So you want the back of the wide chimney to divert water around the chimney, right? If it isn't, then it's just going to collect, right? Unless it's up near the ridge, that'd be an odd thing. But this one is at the gutter edge, so there's a ton of water and snow. This is cold climate, snow melt, just dumping, pushing, sitting on the backside of this chimney. It should be diverted around, right? So I can't wait to get inside the house and see if there's something I can look at about this roof leaking, right? Because I'm expecting some watermarks. Something's going on maybe, huh? So I'm gonna put that in the report as a defect that needs to be checked by a professional. And I'm gonna recommend a saddle to be installed. And any roofer is gonna recommend that as well. Looks pretty good. I see some bumps. The shingles aren't lying flat. Every row has like a hump in it. And this is part of my brand here. This is going to be in the inspection report, I hope. Right, we'll go over it. We'll see if that picture is in the report. Everybody doing good? Whoa, really good answers. Yes, cricket, 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 cricket. 30 inches or more, Peter. How do you comment on all the brick exterior? I'm looking for defects. So I identify the types of exterior siding, and then I just look for defects and I report upon the defects that I both observed and deem to be major problems. So there's another picture, kind of cool. Just stretch out and take a picture of your hand from different areas. So there's a up close picture of the flashing problem. Okay, so what does this picture tell you about the shingle covering? You should be able to tell me something about the shingle covering just based upon what you see there. And I'll give you a hint. It's about that first row. Anybody know? No, it's not an older roof. Drip edge, no. Loose granulars, no. Overhangs, no. So it's the exposure, right? The exposure is different. Exposure should be, let's say, just 5 inches on every shingle row, right? This one, it looks like it's less than that. Why is that? Because there's 2 layers of shingles. And the first row, when you install, when you re-roof, when you install a second layer, you have to start over again, and you kind of like tuck. The first row starts, it's dependent upon the existing shingle row, right? So it's kind of like starting, and then it's a different exposure. That doesn't explain very much, but let me just show you. So that short exposure on the first row may be an indication of a re-roof, right? So easy giveaway, but why not just look? So this is what I do on every roof, on every shingle roof, on every kind of roofing material that I can see. I kind of go to the eave or the gable or the gutter edge or somewhere, and I'm pulling up the roof covering materials without cracking or breaking it, just to see what's going on underneath. And it's amazing what you'll find. Can't do this by a drone. So I want to see underlayment if I can. I'm not required to. This is how I see the standards correct. I want to see if there's ice and water shield, if cold climates in certain areas. I want to see the decking. Is it plywood? Is it solid wood? Is it there at all? Is it damaged? Is there a drip edge? What kind? Is it functioning? So much to see just by doing that. So I pull up the top layer of shingles, and I see the second layer of shingles, and I'm going to tell my client there are 2 layers of shingles, which in this township is okay. I know the township inspector, they're not going to, it's okay, and I'm okay with it too. IRC mentions about the second re-roofing. Code mentions about it. The main concern about re-roofing, 2 things, in my opinion, is flashing and fastening. Flashing typically isn't installed with the top layer of shingles. They usually just throw the new layer down and just kind of goop it with silicone, right? They don't pull the step flashing up. They don't mess around with the counter flashing properly. So everything is like open around the flashing areas. Second thing is fastening. If you're going to re-roof, you got to have longer fasteners, right? And you want that roofing nail fastener to punch through the decking material, and that's a standard. So fastening and flashing when there's a roofing material, re-roof. What do I recommend for a missing cricket? Install a cricket. The roof doesn't have to leak. That chimney area does not have to leak before I recommend that there should be and that's part of standard, part of code. I'm not going to say code in my inspection report. I use code to build my knowledge on what a modern safe home should be built like. I inspect this older home regardless of age. I don't care if this home with a really wide chimney with no cricket, I don't care if it was built in the 1800s or yesterday. I'm going to recommend a cricket to be installed. I inspect homes without any regard to age. Another thing would be the space between the spindles on a guardrail, right? Let's say a second floor story hallway open to the entry or something. The stairs go up. There's a guardrail. There's 4-inch space is required. Nothing more than a 4-inch space on the spindles of the guardrail, right? Like a deck. Sorry, a deck would be an easier example. So you're on the rear deck, 8 foot, 10 foot above ground. The guardrail has spindles, the vertical things. The space between the spindles can't be more than a 4-inch sphere, more than can't put this through the space between the spindles. I don't care when the deck was built. It could have been built in 1988, right? Different code, different requirements, right? Could have been built in 1950, right? Back then, it was built to code. I don't care what anyone says about grandfathering, right? The home, that railing, if it has a space that is large enough for a child to fall through, is a safety hazard for children. And I'm going to call it out. And I'm not going to mention code. I'm just going to say according to modern standards. Why? Because homes should be safe. It should be functioning well, safe, maybe energy efficient. So that's what I do. I inspect homes regardless of the age. And for those of you on Facebook, if you want to know what the heck's going on, we're doing a live interactive online class on Nachi TV, NACHI.TV. You can go there, click and join, or register for the next upcoming class. So you're unable to see my slides. Only my students are able to see the slides. Gravel in the drain might be getting old. True, however, brand new shingles installed will have the granulars in the gutter, right? There's extra brush off. Let's see. No, it's too far. How many shingle? But it's okay. You might comment 2 layers. Patrick, it's okay, but do you make a comment about the drawbacks of having 2 layers, like trapping condensation and moisture can rot out the decking? Well, no. My concern is really those 2 things, flashing and fastening. That's what I do. I comment on those 2 things. Those 2 things are typically the problem areas, right? And then if someone happens to find out that the moisture content within the decking underneath the layer of shingles is caused by the, it goes on and on. I can't really prove that. It's hard for me to see that. I can't find evidence of that condensation within the layers of the shingles. It could happen, it might not. What I'm really concerned about are the things that I commonly find, which is when there's a re-roof, the flashing and fastening are not done well at all. Some re-roofs, you can grab the shingles and literally pull them up because the fasteners aren't even doing what they're supposed to be doing, holding down the roof covering materials. Great questions. You guys are awesome. Best questions ever. I've been doing webinars for a long time. These are awesome questions. Keep them coming. So 2 layers. I just use my fingers. I don't have time with my fancy inspection report software that can make circles and arrows and text and all that stuff. But there's 2 layers of shingles, right? 2 layers of shingles. So I'm taking pictures of other things around the house. That's the shingle from the gutter edge. That's a pretty good shot. You can inspect a lot to getting up to the gutter. You don't have to walk on the roof. I don't know what's going on, but looks like there's a lot of deteriorated paint around the house. I already saw kind of like what's going on with the exterior. It looks like we have paint, older paint. We can talk about lead content, but that is cracked and damaged. Maybe some water. That board, that fascia board, has been replaced just for installing the gutter. That's interesting. And there's a soffit vent. So now I have a soffit vent. Looks like every dozen feet. That's not the greatest ventilation, right? So the original was probably the soffit vents, maybe not even them, and a couple gable vents. And then so they put in, remember the power fan? Yeah. So there's a couple things going on. I'm going to hold off on my comments and recommendations, if I have any, until I get underneath the roof structure and see what's going on in the unfinished space. I'm going to reserve my, that's one of the things that we do as home inspectors. I mean, there's some really exciting stuff, especially if you use an infrared camera. Do I have my infrared camera? No. If you use an infrared camera, it's really exciting, some of the stuff you see, but you have to be conservative. Don't just blurt out things until you follow up and confirm with your friendly companion. Every infrared scan, every infrared camera should come with one of these, because you have to confirm if you see a cold spot or something that's indicating a potential cold spot, like a dark blue something in your infrared camera, and you want to see if it's moisture. Groundwater tends to be cold. It comes in, and you can see if it's moisture or not. And I use this. This is mine from many years ago. They still make them. It's non-invasive, gives me an audible and a visual readout, and it also has the pins. See, I've used this for a while because my buttons are messed up. So, whoa. So, okay, yeah. So, when I'm doing an infrared scan, which I include on every inspection, a free infrared scan on every home inspection, you can't beat me. I bought a $500 infrared camera, not a $5,000, $500. I do a free infrared scan on every inspection. and I bring my moisture meter just to confirm what I'm seeing. You know, something hot, missing insulation, something cool, maybe it's water, right? And I include for free an infrared scan on every home inspection. I don't charge separately $150 for a thermal scan or anything like that. I simply keep reminding myself of providing more value so I can demand higher fees. So I added free infrared scans, but I bumped up my fee by 50 bucks. I went from $329 to $369 because I included infrared with every inspection. I walked around with an infrared camera. And because I added value to my service, I increased my fee. And I allowed each one of my clients for the next year to pay me for that really expensive infrared camera that I bought, right? So start off with something small that adds value, that's affordable, and you increase your fees and allow your clients to help you purchase that next tool that may be $2,000, right? I never increased my overhead in marketing. So in my inspection report, here's my binder, here's my paper that I printed it out for clients who wanted their report printed out, and here's my home maintenance book, right? It's an Internachi home maintenance book, $2.70. It could be fully customized for the same price. And I never paid for this. I simply increased my fee by $5. This is $2.70. And I allowed every one of my clients to purchase their own home maintenance book and a cup of coffee, right? If you add value, if the perceived value is greater than the cost, it's a good decision, right? So always be increasing your value. I will just, if there's in where I came from, southeastern PA, Philadelphia, there's 200 inspectors in a 30, 40 mile radius. How do you compete in that? How are you the best in that? I did it by increasing value for every inspection, right? So let's say we're all licensed. We're all holding our home inspector license. We're nice and proud of it. All that license means is, to the consumer, is that we're equally qualified. Doesn't mean anything else. For the new guy, it means I'm just as qualified as the veteran. For the veteran who's held that market in their area for 10 years, they now have an equal competitor, right? So let's say we're all certified or all licensed or we're all home inspectors. What makes us different? What makes me different from all the rest? Well, I could be dumb and reduce my prices in order to distinguish myself from all the rest. That would be dumb. Or I could think about the general rule. If the perceived value is greater than the cost, then it's a good decision. So I want to add value. How do I do that? Well, I want to distinguish myself from all the rest. So I want to add that I walk upon every roof surface. Okay, so I want to take a step forward. If you can do that, maybe there's 10 other inspectors who also bring tall ladders. No big deal. I want to add a home maintenance book to every inspection report. Okay, so now I'm down to maybe 5 other people. I want to add a free home maintenance newsletter through Internachi for members for free for every client. Keep in contact with my clients. They're like gold. Oh, okay. A couple people left. I'm gonna blow them away with this one. I offer a free infrared scan because I'm Internachi infrared certified, which is a free online certification. I offer it for free on every home inspection. Oh, you know. And now what do I do extra? Well, I do other things like I take care of the homeowners. Like this is a leave behind, right? This is a lunchbox. It says, "We really appreciate you. Thank you for allowing us to inspect your home. Open it up for a gift inside." And I open it up. Oh, and there's, I don't know, whatever you want for a gift in there for the homeowner. I use special tools. Like this is a moisture meter, actually, right? So there's the pins on. It gives me an audible. Why do I use this? Well, I can reach 6 feet above my head, or I can probe through the carpeting padding. I'm adding value. Always constantly think about adding value. so that you can raise your fees. And here's what happens when I have a really good class with students asking questions. I go off on a tangent, and we still need to do this home inspection. And we're about 50 minutes in. We haven't even gotten past the gutter. I'm going to look real quick to questions from students. What determines your use of thermal images in your report? If it helps convey what I see with my eyes. Because I can't see everything with my eyes, right? A flashlight, an infrared camera is like a flashlight. Shouldn't be freaked out about using infrared. An infrared camera is like a flashlight. This flashlight exceeds the standards of practice. The word flashlight doesn't appear in the standards of practice. It's a visual only inspection, not visually aided inspection. So a flashlight helps me see things that I wouldn't normally be able to see without it. For example, that's dark under there, right? A flashlight, which is not required by the standards of practice, allows me to see things that I wouldn't normally be able to see without it. And that's what a flashlight is. It allows me to see things that I normally wouldn't be able to see without it. I can see that, can't see that. I can see that, can't see it. That's what an infrared camera does. It's a tool. Infrared isn't required by the standards of practice. An infrared camera allows me to see things that I wouldn't normally be able to see without it. And if I see something, and it's something that I both observe and deem to be a material defect, I have to put it in the report. Right? All other defects, even if you see them, all the defects, you're not required to put them in the report. You're only required to put, according to the standards of practice, those defects that you both observe and deem to be material, which is the really serious stuff. What really matters in a home inspection is material defects, right? Something that's going to hurt somebody or have an adverse impact on the value of the home, right? An example would be non-tube wiring is a material defect, in my opinion. A deck that is about to collapse because of the ledger attachment, maybe flashing or rot or something like that. Imminent deck collapse is definitely a material defect. Right? So don't freak out on using infrared. It's like a flashlight. Do you put the classification rating on your report? Class A, B, C? Heck no. I'm a home inspector. It frees me out. Is it okay to put an IR scan as an add dollar amount to a basic inspection instead of charging it a higher price that includes an IR scan? Sure, you have to figure this out. You have to figure out how to make money in your business. You know? So what we did is we had a standard fee for a home inspection, $396, and we added on the phone, on the fly, if that house was far away, very old, like 1800s old, or was over 4,000 square feet. And we only added about $20 or $30 more. No big deal. It worked out for us really well. In our market, $396 was really high. It was up there, maybe the highest, right? We were up there high. And we demanded that high fee because of all the extra value that I was talking about, because we added value. So you have to figure it out in your market. What is going to work? How are you going to make a ton of cash being a business? Right? One of the things you can rely on that works just about everywhere else, even in other industries, is adding value. I'll give you an example. You go to Macy's, you go to the men's department or women's department, right? I'm a man. I'm going to the men's department, jewelry, and there's watches. There's 100 watches. On the far left are the plastic ones that you can get for 20 bucks. And as you move to the right, looking at all the watches that do all the same, they tell time. It's the same service. Far right is a watch, and it's $1,000. How can that watch, which does the same thing, which makes it a commodity, Watches are a commodity. They all do the same thing. How does that watch demand $1,000 and this one's 20 bucks and they do the same thing? It's kind of, not exactly, kind of like the home inspection industry. We all do the same thing. We're doing a visual home inspection according to a standard practice. We're all kind of looking at the same stuff. How can one inspector charge 400 bucks and the other inspector thinks it's good to charge 200? How is that possible? How can one demand more money than the other? Value proposition. Perceived value from your consumer, your client. Your client perceives incredible value. They want information. If you give them a ton of information and a great experience, you can demand more money. Let's keep going. Don't know what that is. On the shingles, paint, rust, drip, something above. There's nothing above. I don't know what was going on. I'm going to put in a report. It's a cosmetic problem. A cosmetic defect. Cosmetic defect is a blemish, a flaw. You don't have to put it in a report. I'm going to do it because I know someone's going to look out the window and go, hey, what's this? And why didn't my inspector see it? So I might as well put it in a report. It adds about a second to my inspection service. Flashing's good. It's okay. More vents, more roof stuff, more pictures, black algae, cosmetic. Shingles are good. Shingles are good. Good shingles, good flashing. Whoop, the other chimney is all messed up. Flashing's okay, but we actually have masonry popping off. The mortar joints need to be repaired. Round flue pipe, that's nice. So the mortar joints need to be repaired. No big deal. I got a ton of pictures of mortar joints. It's not going to fall over. It just needs to be repaired. Can't let that go. Now I'm on the ground. I'm looking at how the gutters divert water, the downspouts divert water away from the foundation. It looks pretty good. There's video too, so I do video. Don't be afraid of doing video.
Repairs are needed at the masonry mortar joint.
Okay. And especially if your client doesn't show up. What I learned over the years is my clients weren't able to tell the degree to which the defect severity was, right? How bad is this bad thing? So I would say things like, there's a shutoff valve, there's a gas shutoff valve next to the heating system. That's a good thing, actually, but my clients over the years turn out to be like, we've lost this knowledge of how to maintain a home and what things do and how to maintain them and save energy and how they function and how to turn things on, turn things off. We lost that a little bit. Maybe changing the air filter is a big challenge for a lot of homeowners. So if you say things like, there's a gas shutoff valve next to the heating system, I said things like good after that, right? And bad things, I actually said bad, and also added defects. So everything that I reported that was a problem or an issue was a defect. What kind of defect? Well, I had to define the defect. So we start off with cosmetic defect. This is not required. This is me. This is what I used to do. I think these are in our glossary, the Internachi glossary. And material defect is actually the only defect that's defined by the standards of practice. Cosmetic defect is just a superficial flaw. It's like a stain on carpet. I'm not required to report it. My clients are probably going to say, hey, there's a tear in there's a bump in the thorn. Okay, so I'll take a picture and put it in a report. Minor defect is something that's wrong that can be fixed by the homeowner. Dirty air filter. A major defect is a hole in the roof. It's something that's wrong, needs to be repaired by a professional. And that, as you can see, is a major defect. So those are the 4 things that I use to help my clients understand what I was talking about. Because I didn't use the words like, this is an issue, this is a problem, this is a concern, this is non-functional, this is serviceable. I hate that one. I have no idea what that means. They were all defects, actually, but then I categorized them, right? To what degree of a defect is it? Material defect is the big one. So hopefully that helps you. 8 o'clock, I'm done with the roof inspection because I'm using a mobile device, software device, and I'm inspecting and writing my reports as I inspect, right? So when I get down from the roof onto the ground, the exterior, I'm done with the roof section. I'm done inspecting it and I'm done writing it. And I'm done identifying major defects that will appear in the summary because I'm using software that supports that kind of inspection process. And it helps me be efficient with my time. Remember, again, you want that mathematical formula. It's a fraction where you get your gross revenue and you divide it by your time. You want the top to be as big as you can, providing really great service and great value and demanding higher fees. And you want to be efficient with your time and time management and get that denominator, the bottom number in your fraction, to be as small as possible. If you can do that, you can do 2 jobs a day instead of spending 8 hours on one job, making $250, right? Okay, so write your inspection report as you inspect. That's how you get efficient with your time. That's where profit is. Another source of profit is ancillary inspections. If it doesn't add a lot of time to your inspection, home inspection, do an ancillary. Mold, radon, right? Water quality, lead hazard, stucco. It just keeps going on. Home energy inspection. So now 8 to 8:15, hopefully my client has showed up. Big smile, handshake, right? First impressions. Hand out 5 business cards because they'll get passed out. Handshake everyone there. Try to remember your client's name. Say it over and over in your head while he or she says it to you. Mary, 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 Mary. Good to see you, Mary. Good to see you. Nice to meet you. Okay, here's where we're going. I just did the roof inspection. Here's what's up. Now we're going to do the exterior, and then we're going to do all the systems, and we'll probably wrap it up around 10:30. I'll see you in the kitchen around 11 or so, and that'll be it. Feel free to follow me around, ask me questions. And right now, the roof is okay. It's got this and that and cricket and all that stuff. And now I invite them to go around the exterior. Would you like to go around the exterior? If they do, I'm going to do a quick run around the exterior with them. It doesn't take too long because I want them to get them inside so that I can do the exterior at my pace, which is maybe 10 more minutes, 15 minutes. The exterior is no big deal, really. It's just like the roof. I'm really looking forward to, remember that in the beginning, what we're going for? The heavy lifting, the HVAC, the electrical structure, hot water, water supply, drain waste vent, plumbing. I'm going to get to that stuff, right? Can't wait. So I'm doing the exterior. And I do the same process, inspection process, every time I do a home inspection. It tends to be counterclockwise. I go up to the front door and I go to my right and I go around this way. That's counterclockwise, right? Every room, I tend to go to the right. I go around and counterclockwise. Why? Well, you want to do the same thing over and over again. You want to use the same standards of practice, the same system first. Maybe you start in the kitchen first. I do the roof first, and then the exterior, and then the heating, and then and you want to do that in the same way, and each room in the same way, and movement in the same way, and write the reports in the same way, and print them on the same. Do everything the same, because if there's a defect, it'll jump out at you almost literally. When you go around the exterior and there's like a defect, it'll be like, what is this? And you have to almost physically stop. Everything stops, right? You have to handle this thing because it's in the way of your routine inspection, right? So do everything in the same way. And we're going to do the exterior. The exterior is basically looking for different types of materials where they intersect, looking for wood rot, paint condition, grading, and then components. A lot of what a home inspection is identifying the components and systems of the house and reporting them and putting it in a report. And if there's a problem, it should jump out at you, and you identify it. Is it a minor, major, material defect? Put it in the report, you're done. That's what you are here to do, right? And doing a home inspection is fairly straightforward. What's really difficult is building and running a home inspection business that's successful and profitable, right? And that's where Internachi comes in, right? Maybe you need a coach, a mentor. Maybe you haven't found all the resources that are available through Internachi that are free from our members. Right? That's why we have a home inspection business course. That's why I have other resources and vendors to go to. Okay, so what I'm doing here is on the exterior, a lot of identification, grading, and looking for anything. Oh, window well. I know what the window well is. It shouldn't be filled with debris, and it is. No big deal, cosmetic defect. Maybe minor defect, it needs to be cleaned out. Inspection restrictions, I can't see everything, but I want to take a picture of that because a picture is worth 1,000 words. Sometimes you'll need a picture to describe the limitations of your visual inspection. Like when you get sued. You can't stop anybody from getting sued, but what you can do is prepare yourself legally. Internachi has a legal department and a library of legal documents. It's like a legal Zoom for home inspectors. And if you have your legal stuff in order, that kind of frees you up. You're not burdened by the threat that somebody might sue you or something, because you're all, I have been sued. I've been taken to small claims court. It's no big deal. You're in and out in about 10 minutes. You have to dress up nice and have everything all ready and printed out and answer a few questions. And it all comes down to having your legal agreement signed prior to the home inspection, standards of practice in order, your report printed, and making sure you do a thorough inspection, right? If someone sued me once for cat urine in carpet padding, obviously that's beyond the scope of a home inspection, right? I can't even see the padding. We're not here to smell carpeting. And they found it because when a new homeowner comes in, they tend to replace their carpeting and they open it up and it's fine. So got sued, couldn't negotiate with them. I like to, if I have a complaint, I like to invite myself to the home again. A lot of problems are diffused. A lot of emotions are cooled down when you show up to the place and see things and explain things that you weren't able to see that during your first initial home inspection, and that you chose here not to hire me for the walkthrough when everything was empty. The house is empty. Maybe during the walkthrough I could have seen that problem, but you chose not to hire me through the walkthrough. Ancillary inspection, diversification of services. And I have a picture of all the stuff. I couldn't see it. Here's my report. We didn't see it. If I saw it, I would have reported it, right? Don't you think? It'll diffuse. If you can't do that and you get pulled into court, well, you tell that to the judge. You show all these things, all these pictures, Your Honor, blah, 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 blah. And you're done in about 10 minutes. Use Internachi's legal department to your advantage. So many great services through Internachi. I don't care if you're new or a veteran. Deteriorated paint. I was a lead paint EPA certified lead hazard risk assessor. That's a really great service. It's a 5-day class. You can charge $700, $800 per inspection, and you have more power than a police officer because you're protecting children. It's a lot of fun. Deteriorated paint, deteriorated condition on these wooden shutters. They're all kind of sagging and wood rot too. So this is a lot of fun. Look at that. That's been patched up by plaster and that didn't work very well. Just looking for peeling paint now and documenting. I'm going to document. I'm not going to document with a sentence every little chip in paint or peeled paint. I'm just going to collect all those pictures and make one big paragraph that there's a lot of deterioration, delayed maintenance, chipping, peeling paint, missing paint, wood rot, blah, 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 blah. Wood posts should not sit on the ground and they shouldn't extend through the concrete padding into the dirt. It's probably rotten under there. Just get your screwdriver and poke it. If you poke something that's rotten like that and your screwdriver goes through it, good. You didn't cause damage. You found damage. Don't worry about causing damage. That's part of your job. If you cause damage. Once I put my finger in a window well and somebody wanted to sue me for it, right? Because I was causing damage. No, I was discovering so much rot that you can stick your fingers into the windowsill. It's really rotten stuff. Once ledger board was so rotten, you could grab it by your fingers and pull it out, right? I did that and I took a picture of it and put it right in the report. If you damage something, you stick that picture right in the report. Sometimes I crush a trap, the soft brass um, coating, stainless steel aluminum coating around the soft brass trap. They don't make them anymore. It's all plastic. But I used to crush them and then put it in a report. And then tag the sink to not be used, or maybe I could get a bucket. If you crush something or break something, damage something, you stick that right in the report. You know how many dishwashers I've turned on and they've leaked on the floor. I turn my back, I turn around, and there's a big puddle on the floor. I didn't damage that. I found it. I didn't cause damage. I discovered it for my client. First thing I do is take a picture. Initial picture, and I disclose it, and I tell everybody, hey, that water trap just crushed in my hand. It's crushed in my hand. Right? I just stuck my finger through this wood rot on this windowsill. You're not supposed to do that. The dishwasher just leaked on my feet. It did that. You're just observing. Where are we? Let's try to get through some of these pictures, huh? So there's a lot of stuff like this, right? Damage. I'm taking pictures of everything, as you can see. Just snapping, 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 snapping. Some of them are going into the report because they are helpful in describing the condition of the shutters. Like that has a lot of wood rot, right? You can only tell if you touch it and crush it, which I will. If I can, and that is an awesome shot where the shutters are so rotten that they're just sagging. And that is definitely rotten. And that is a shutter that it's so rotten it fell away. So that's missing. And the asphalt driveway is crumbling into gravel. So that's in poor condition. Oh, that's my truck. So cracks in the concrete. Screwdriver, stick my screwdriver in wood rot all the time, poking at the bottom. Use the handle to tap, and then use the point to poke through. And if it pokes through, I tend to leave my screwdriver in the wood that's rotten and take a picture of it. All exterior receptacles should be GFCI protected. Missing glazing or putty at the windows, older air conditioner units. Department of Energy says anything over 15 years old should be considered for replacement. And there's this one's carrier. Take a picture of the manufacturing label. I don't put it in the report, but I have that information later on if I needed it. Refrigerant line, suction line, I can see it. It's not original to the house because it goes up in the attic space. So we have like a retrofitted air conditioning system in the unfinished attic space above the second floor bedroom. So I'll take a look at that in there. Electric disconnect, there it goes up into the attic space. So I'll make sure that kicks on and cools off. Screened in porch, a lot of wood rot, paint, wood rot, GFCI. The light fixture is resting on the floor, and there's missing screen there. That's a minor, it's cosmetic, but I'm gonna put it in the report. And we're missing a storm window pane, must have cracked. And that's the kitchen exhaust, dryer exhaust. In a cold climate, all water spigots, hose bibs, water spigots, exterior water spigots should be frost-free. There's the door, and the doorbell doesn't work. Somebody complained about the doorbell. I actually paid for it to be repaired because it was a learning experience. All of my inspectors then would make sure all the doorbells work. That's the first thing that a new homeowner does. They open the door and they ring the doorbell just to hear it ring. And if it doesn't ring, they think, oh, that home inspector. So no big deal. Cross fingers is a clue to me that this doorbell does not work. And there's the outdoor grill, outdoor chimney, door to the garage. There's the electric meter. There's electric line. And the exterior sheathing is deteriorated to the point where there could be water intrusion. And I don't want that. So I want an electrician to come. This is a defect, it's a major defect, and put it in the report. We need an electrician to replace the line. And that's a pipe in the yard, could be a septic system, because I don't think it's on public sewer. I'm gonna put it in the report. It's not part of my inspection, but I wanna make sure that I document that it's kind of green in that one area. Frost-free hose bibs. This is common in some areas of the United States. It's an oil fill pipe, an vent pipe, and there's a oil tank. It's probably in the basement. We don't want buried oil tanks in the ground. And so I know I have oil supplied to the house, and it's probably for the heating system. 8:15, I'm done with the exterior. Now I'm getting to the juicy stuff like the heating system. And this is an old thermostat and it needs to be replaced with a programmable one so that we are saving as much energy as possible. And a thermostat is a minor thing that could be replaced by the homeowner who's kind of handy. No one's going to get electrocuted, it's low voltage, but maybe the HVAC system has a recommendation. They can do it at the same time. Charles asked, did most of your business come from realtors or actual home buyers and sellers? My clients were mostly home buyers, and I got those leads from real estate agents. So I marketed to real estate agents in my area in many, many different ways. One of the most creative ways was delivering fruit to small real estate offices that never got any love. So my company was Peach Inspections, and when the season was right, I would go to the farm where they picked fresh peaches, and they put them in these cute little baskets, and I stuck my flyers and brochures in there, and I delivered peaches to all the real estate agents that were offices that were small. I didn't go to the big Caldwell Banker 800 agent building. It was just my style, just the little ones. And the little agents' offices, little offices of real estate agents, small offices, were really thankful, and they just loved it and just sucked them all up and got to know them. The other one was we sponsored real estate office meetings, which happened maybe weekly or monthly, with fresh baked peach pastries with paper plates, a lot of napkins, forks and knives, and I didn't do any presentations. Didn't have to do a whole lot of presentations. I think I presented it here and there, but I just wanted to feed people. We had peach candy, we had peach puffs, we had all this kind of stuff. Peaches, yep. So peach is a marketing thing. Real estate agents in my area are mostly women, and a peach is a feminine kind of thing, and it's kind of pink, fuzzy, juicy, sweet, and so I wanted to connect with that industry. So we made friends with real estate agents, like 30 agents per inspector, which is pretty good. If most of them, over half of them, close in a month, that's a full-time schedule there. That's pretty good for a home inspector. So that's what we wanted to do, market to real estate agents. There's so many different ways. I would make sure you don't miss out on the gold mine that every real estate, every home inspector has, which is your existing clients, your client base, the people that have already decided you're fantastic and have hired you. Don't let them go. Keep in contact with your existing clients, and they're not customers, they're clients. They're talking about you. They're passing out your best marketing piece, right? Your home inspection report. What are they saying? They're going to move in 5 or 7 years. Where are they going? Who are they going to hire for the home inspector? It's a gold mine, right? You can even ask your past clients to provide 2 referrals. Talk to 2 people and say, hey, Big Ben Inspections was really good. You should hire them, right? It's amazing how much you can double your revenue by mining into your existing client base. Jim says, I'm not solar panel inspection certified. What would be my best course of action if I arrive at a home and there are solar panels in place? That's awesome. We are developing a free online solar panel inspection course that the California Department of Energy, that I'm visiting next month, is going to help us write. California is going to require all new homes to have solar panels installed on the roof. California is ahead. If California does it, here comes the rest of it, or here comes the rest of us, right? They're first, and we tend to follow. So we are listening to our members who are interested in becoming solar panel inspectors, certified inspectors for solar panels. I don't know where we're going to tie that up. And so that's coming up. And right now, the interesting part of solar panels is that it's a commodity. Solar panels are interchangeable. They're basically the same kind of solar panel. There's some variations, about the same size. The frames are about the same. What's interesting is the fastening. How does the solar panel attach to the house? And that's kind of neat. There are electrical systems that you can help identify, but you could also reserve that for an expert in that field. So look forward to a free online course about inspecting solar panels coming from Internachi. Looking at John, we polls. Do you find a lot explaining the type of defect when one, two, no, Patrick, do you comment on standard shortage, Anthony, AC, streamer, Charles? Okay. Sorry, I'm not gonna, I'll answer those other questions as soon as possible. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time, but we've always been quick with our thing. I haven't even gotten to the HVAC system, and it's been an hour and a half. So I want to move on with the inspection, okay? Is that all right? Because we have the entire report to review as well, if you want. Electric disconnect for the heating system, and there's the heating system. This is a boiler. It's an oil-fired boiler. This is a very common heating system for East Coast. So a lot of you may be unaware of what's going on, but this is a boiler system. Let's see if I can help. Oh, no, that doesn't work. No, darn it. I was going to write on my screen here, and I can't get it to move over, so I'm going to quit that. Well, anyways, I'll do a zoom. This is the burner, right? And this is an oil line that goes to the burner. And this is an oil filter. And the oil line comes around here. And there's an oil tank somewhere on the other side of the, here it is. There it is. So we pour oil into a tank in a basement of a house, and then we burn it because we couldn't think of anything else to do. And it goes into a burner, which turns that oil into a mist and ignites it. And it goes into a chamber, and it heats up a heat exchanger, and that is in the middle of water around like a hot water tank, right? Made up of different parts, usually out of cast iron. And when that water heats up, a pump turns on. This is a circulator pump, and it pushes that hot water out and distributes it through maybe one zone or two zones of radiators and other systems. And the exhaust of that burner goes through the heat exchanger and goes out into a chimney. There's some controls. There's a temperature control. And this is a coil, a domestic coil. So you get a copper line and you coil it into that hot water and you coil it back out and you have hot water. That's the hot water source. It's a domestic coil into a boiler. So the boiler has to turn on. And in summertime, it turns on to heat up hot water. In the wintertime, it's already on. So it's kind of like free hot water. And it's fast. It's unlimited. By the time cold water goes in and comes back out, it's hot. And it is really hot. It is over 120 degrees hot. So there has to be a tempering device there. You've got some valves, some pressure valves, and some temperature valves, and some other controls, TPR valve extended to the floor, and that's a boiler. There's the fill line and vent pipe. When you push oil into a tank, you push air out. There's a boiler there. There's the burner, plate, controls, temperature controls, limit switch, pressure, temperature gauge, TPR pressure valve, expansion tank. When water heats up, it expands. I have a leak. I have a leak at a valve, an air valve. And so that tends to leak a lot, and that's a common thing. No big deal. It shuts down, we replace that and put a new one in, done. It's been leaking for a while because that rust has gone not on the outside jacket, but on the inside. The thing's made out of cast iron, so I'm not worried about the boiler itself rusting. There's a circulator pipe with a cold water inlet, oil filter, and there's the exhaust coming to the chimney stack. Looks like that new pipe with new flue was installed, so that's nice. With a air damper, draft control. Oh, looks good. There's a clean out at the chimney. Water coming in. So that complex boiler system with a defect, a leaking valve, is maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It's that quick. It's not an hour for that to visually inspect the heating system. I turn on the thermostat upstairs and I listen to it. It goes, I turn it off if I wanted to, or back on again, turn it down in the thermostat. I don't have to heat up the whole house. As soon as I hear it kick on, right, that means the heat exchanger got to a certain limit, heated up enough water, and it wants to circulate, just like a furnace. Heat exchanger turns on, maybe gas fired, flames, heat exchanger, temperature goes up, the blower turns on, it circulates air. Same thing with this boiler, it circulates hot water. I don't need to circulate air and hot water and heat up everybody or cool the whole thing. Just want to make sure that there's a heating supply in every bedroom, in every room that is designated as a bedroom, and that's about all. So someone's asking, when do I turn on the air conditioner? When it's not too cold outside, and that's really my answer. For me, it was 65 degrees. 60 degrees, I get really nervous, to turn on the air conditioner. So I'll turn it on. I just want to hear that compressor kick on. I want to hear that of the refrigerant gas move through the system, and I'm done, right? And then in the summertime, heating, I just turn it on just to see it circulate. I want to see it cycle through. One of the best things you can do is learn what a gas-fired furnace cycle is about, right? On a draft inducer fan, make sure the pilot. There shouldn't see any standing pilots. That's a really old system. So intermittent pilot or a glow plug or high efficiency heating system with the condensate dripping. You should know what the cycle is about. So that anything unusual will jump out at you in the cycle. Okay, so cold water coming in. Identify the water shutoff valve. There's a water check and pressure regulator. There's the cast iron sewer pipe going to the septic system with a clean out there. Cast iron is an interesting material. It tends to corrode from the inside out, and I tap on cast iron pipes with my screwdriver, tink, 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 tink. And if there's corrosion, I tend to jab it with my screwdriver and see if I can poke through the cast iron pipe. There is a typical corrosion hole from inside out. I'm gonna tap that. It has leaked, it has holes. I just wanna see if it's really weak. And it is right there. It's leaking. So there's sewage leaking through the cast iron pinholes, corrosion holes. It's a weak pipe section there that needs to be replaced. That's it for those heavy lifting systems and components, right? Now I'm going to do the electrical panel. You're not required to remove the dead front cover. You can inspect the electrical panel without removing it. It's not required. That's 200 amps. 2 fingers means 200 amps. All the breakers should be specifically identified. They are kind of in a strange way. I remove the front just to look at what's going on. When I do, I'm tending to look for overfusing. That's the common thing when you look behind a dead front cover. A big fat breaker on a small thin wire. That's not a good combination. and I have a few defects in the electrical panel. The structure itself, well, I can see a lot of it, but not everything. There are inspection restrictions, and I'm going to put those restrictions in the report because I can't see everything. There may be a defect right there. Am I required to report it? Am I required to report every defect in a home? Heck no. I'm required to report, right, upon those defects that I both observe and deem to be material, which is that really serious defect that's defined in the standards of practice. If I can't see it, I certainly can't report upon it, right? If it's behind this wall or this cabinet of the current occupant, I can't report upon it, right? If it's right there and I don't see it, I can't report upon it. It's both. I have to, if it's a defect and I don't think it's serious, I'm not going to report upon it. So it's both. I have to see it and think it's so serious that it gets in the report. Yeah. Okay. If you know that kind of frees you up. You're not required to report upon every defect in the home. It's impossible, right? This is a visual only inspection with a limited amount of time, right? Okay. But I'm going to do my best. So there's termite damage. I don't see any tubes. I see some damage. And I can tell by the mud that this is termites. I'm not a licensed pesticide applicator. I don't spray anything, right? But anything that causes damage to the structure of the home, especially the wooden components, load-bearing components, I am qualified to report upon that because I'm a home inspector, right? And I inspect things like that. Anything that causes damage, I don't care if it's a bug or a mold or water or a saw, I'm going to report upon that. I'll let the licensed pesticide applicator identify the bug, sure, but I'm going to report that I know what this is. Something's eating some wood there. And ask the seller about prior infestation, signs of prior infestation, or treatment. Right? So in some states, you have to be very careful. They want to regulate pesticides being sprayed, right? In some states, roll in inspections into that pesticide application. Those two are separate. When you do a home inspection, look for things that are causing damage, major damage, right? So I don't have to be an entomologist. I don't have to identify the bug, but I'm going to tell my client about wood damage, especially on load-bearing components. All right, that's the basement. There's the attic. So I'm done with the basement. I'm in the attic. I'm almost done with the air conditioning system. Here's the air handler. I'm almost to the point where I'm at like 10 o'clock and I'm done with the inspection in my head mentally, right? Because I'm in the attic. Remember we talked about that earlier. So here's the interior air handler for that old air conditioning system. Carrier unit, remember it was kind of rusty on the outside? Here's the air handler. Take a picture of the plate. There's a high efficiency electronic air filter. That's pretty good. Yep. There's a water catch pan. Really good. Really nice. I missed the drain going out. It must have gone through an eave or something into the gutter. I don't remember it coming down the side of the wall at all. So that's okay. As long as it's not flooded with water, and as long as there's a catch pan, that's pretty good. If I have an overflow drain, a secondary drain, that's ideal. If it was, elevated a little bit and properly installed, that's okay. That's kind of like a cheap way to install a drip pan underneath the air handler evaporator unit. There's the service switch. Concern about insulation of the ducts. What's the minimum in your area? It could be R6 for insulation, R8 maybe. And you want the connections between the flexible duct and the hard duct to be really nice and tight. There's the Department of Energy has a really nice, and a code and other resources show proper installation. What I like to see is, no, I don't want to see duct tape, right? I want to coat that stuff, right, with the duct coating. I call it the duct coating. It's that gray paint, right? So I want air sealed. Don't want duct tape or some kind of fastening with screws or something only, right? I want that mastic on there and then covered up with the insulation. So I want it air sealed, sealed well, and then insulated. Okay? Air sealing and insulation on the ducts, especially the connections. No crushed ducts. But that's nice that they they identified where these supplies go. And that's it, I'm done. Now I'm in the attic. It's gonna be just a few minutes because there's hardly anything in the attic to look at other than structure, signs of water penetration, insulation, ventilation. That's easy. There's inspection restrictions, right? The storage. The structure looks good, right? Lots of fasteners. It's because 2 layers. The insulation is only a few inches thick. Those are 2x6s, and you can see about half of the 2x6. So, it's original insulation. It's odd that it's green fiberglass, but that's what it is. And there's a crushed duct because of the access to the secondary attic space. The roof fan did not turn on. The thermostat is not even installed properly. It's missing a cover over the wiring, and it didn't kick on. Some roof fans you can manually turn, which is really nice. And there's the insulation. It's only a few inches thick. No wonder, I bet that air conditioner turns on all the time during the summer months. But that second floor bedroom is really hot. It's a different climate on the second floor. There's no insulation, no air sealing, no insulation. This is the attic stairs. That door is not insulated very well. So it's an older home, right? But I'm going to make recommendations about air sealing and adding insulation. You have to air seal instead of just recommend adding insulation. You have to recommend air sealing because remember, fiberglass, we call it filter glass. It just filters air. It doesn't stop airflow, right? What stops airflow is air sealing. You want to seal the condition. You want to seal the second floor ceiling so it doesn't vent conditioned air through the attic spaces and through the walls and through the gaps and through the insulation, right? You want to air seal it, make it tight, and hold that conditioned air in and then insulate. So if you go up into the attic space in an older home, you see 3 inches of insulation. It should be R, 36 or whatever, 12 inches or however, whatever, wherever you are. Don't just recommend more insulation, especially if it's a cold climate. You have to air seal that. So air sealing and insulation. Ever pull up fiberglass, unfaced fiberglass batt insulation and see black marks, right? That's not mold, that's dirt being filtered by the fiberglass, right? It's dirt, it's black soot, dirt, stuff being filtered because air just moves right through that stuff, right? It's called filter glass. Air seal and insulate is the best combination to save energy in an unfinished attic space. Garage, I got 2 garage door openers. Any dual boilers have TPR valves? Yeah. What systems, such as security with cameras, windows, door switches, do you inspect these systems? No, I disclaim all security systems. And yep. Do you use a temperature meter to determine the air temperature vents? No, but you may be required by your state. Like in Texas, I think you have to measure the in and the out. If it's coming in at 80 degrees, it's coming out at 60 degrees when the air conditioner is on, that's a pass, right? So you have to measure those. Not according to the Internachi standards of practice, but according to your local jurisdiction, if there's a state regulation, right? And you follow the local rules first, right? So if you're in a regulated state, go to their standards of practice and make sure you're doing everything by the state approved standards of practice. Would you recommend any protective gear for the attic? Yeah. So I always carry these really high efficiency masks. The full face one wasn't all that great for me. I just fogged up. So this is, and for crawl spaces. And then gloves that allow me to touch my devices. And this. So this is a gardening tool. It's a 3-tine hoe, 3 tines, 1, 2, 3. I heat up one and straighten it out. It's extendable. I don't know how much it's cost, 20 bucks? I don't know. It's worth it because I could poke things. I could reach things, and it's hooked so I can put insulation back. I can grab insulation, move it, you're not required to, and then put it back and no one knows, right? And it's extendable and it attaches to the side of my tool bag, which is here. So you can attach it to the side of the tool bag. Here's my moisture meter. I attach that to the side of my bag. And then there's a lot of other things. Might as well show you what this is my, this is exactly what I used to use when I was an inspector, doing inspections. And I like this one because it's customized with an Internachi logo on it. You can get this at inspectoroutlet.com, inspectoroutlet.com. Knee pads. I like the ones that are easy to turn on and off. It's got this nice little pull tab on it. Oh, pull tab on it, right? And it just wraps around like this, right? You pull it off, and it has gel in it, right? I don't like the ones that you have to pull over your leg. You got fat legs, so this one's nice. And the level is handy. There's an app I like on my iPhone that helps me with my phone. I can put my phone like this. It tells me the level. It's called Pitch Factor. Pitch Factor. I think it's good. You gotta have a measuring tape. Gotta have safety goggles. Gotta have a microwave detector leaker. Stick this in the microwave and it turns red. Voltage meter tester. You know, beep, beep, a tick tracer. And GFCI tester. AFCI tester must be in the other room. There's an AFCI tester, GFCI tester combo. If you're doing a water test or pressure or flow or something like that, you gotta have one of these. If you're doing a stucco inspection on the outside, an extendable mirror so that you can look at the bottom of the stucco wall to see how it drains. Why? Because that helps you identify what type of stucco it is. And there are 12 different types of stucco in EIFS. And we have an online course that helps you inspect, identify and inspect. I like this. Remember we were talking about termites? So this is a field guide. We sell these from Internachi. Well worth it because you can open it up and show what your clients, what you see. You can show your clients, hey, I see this, right? I see this kind of, and I think it's a drywood termite. And you can say, blah, 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 blah. Drywood termites are light brown. They have 6 legs and they have antenna. And here's subterranean termite damage. You can say, this is what I see. I see these like winged things, and you know, the front wings are the same as the back wings, or maybe they're different size. And this is a tube, and blah 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 blah. So, you know, you can go through these, and this helps you identify what you're looking at, helps you communicate to your client what you're finding too. Okay, so this is the wood destroying insect field guide from Internachi. This is a kind of cool thing. If the kids come on a Saturday, right, you can give them a little activity book. You can color in things. It's a safety thing, so there's activities inside. Keeps them busy for a while. And on and on. Got to have your ID card, so every member can upload their picture and get an ID card. And you wear that in order to identify yourself. This is one of my favorite tools. You may not think it's a tool, but it is. It's the Internachi shirt, t-shirt. They're like $5, $10 or something. But on the back, I wear this so that everybody knows that I'm the inspector. If I'm at a vacant house early in the morning, don't shoot. You know, I'm the home inspector. I'm not a peeping Tom. That is some of the tools that I like. Let's get to the garage. So two-car garage door openers, no photoelectric eyes, filled with inspection restrictions. The plaster looks good, the structure looks good. I don't see any firewall breaches. Exterior, the garage receptacles need to be GFCI protected. Now I'm doing the interior. And I'm really happy because I'm on schedule. I'm heading towards 11 o'clock. It's about 10:30 right now. And I'm doing the interior, which is flushing toilets, running sinks, showers, tubs, a representative number of windows and doors and things like that. And I like to pound on the tiles and squeeze the traps and run hot and cold water, try to make things leak. If it does, it's not my problem. I push on the side of the toilet with the side of my leg. If it wobbles and damages the wax seal and leaks out, that's not my problem. I try to push on the tiles of the showers and tubs and things like that with my fingers. And if it's soft, right, I'm going to identify a soft tile as a potential problem. I take pictures that I pounded on the tiles. You should be able to pound on the tiles. You should be able to grab a soap dish. If a soap dish falls out, it has. How about a handle? You know, for someone who needs aid getting in and out of the shower, that handle should hold a lot of weight. If it falls off in your hand, that's no good. So there's a bolt from an old sink that was replaced. Shut off valve for the toilet. Tile looks fine. There's no lock on any of the windows on the second floor. It's kind of odd. They were removed for some reason. I don't know why, but there they are. You can see the holes. Maybe the windows were painted many years ago and they just didn't put them on. Just not new windows. Representative number of windows, doors, wall receptacles, switches, smoke detectors. Thermostat zone. So for a boiler, sometimes they'll zone the systems. So there'll be one pump, but two zones controlled by two thermostats. Fireplace, open and close the damper, looking for major defects, major damage, masonry cracking and damage and things like that. Laundry room, interior key deadbolts are a hazard. They need to be replaced. If there's a fire and that deadbolt is locked and the key isn't there, can't be found in smoke, that's not a good situation. So you should be able to open that door with no special key or skill or effort. There's a dryer exhaust on the outside, or remember that hood. The pressure hoses should be pressure tested. The laundry hoses, clothes washer hoses, should be replaced. GFCI protection in laundry receptacles. And the interior. Looking good. Open and close the doors. Take some pictures. Try not to make them all fuzzy like I was doing there. There's the flue. Interior key deadbolts. That's not good. I'm getting to the half bath. Is the half bath now? Toilet, sink, no receptacle. Now I'm in the kitchen. I want to wind up in the kitchen because the kitchen is nice and fuzzy and warm, and I can get paid there. I can print out things. I can set up stuff, my computer, anything I want in the kitchen. And hot and cold water at the sink. Got some leaks at the valves. It's interesting. S-trap. I'm not crazy about it, but I'll mention it. I'm not going to jump up and down and yell at S-trap. But it'll gurgle and it'll self-drain itself. We know the problems. Should be a P-trap. And there's no GFCI protection. There's the fan going outside. And the dishwasher is old, but it turned on. Oven, inspection restriction in the oven. So I'm not going to move those. I'm just going to say I wasn't able to turn the oven on. Stovetop turned on. So those 4 things. Nice. Summary with the client in about 5-10 minutes. I'm moving towards 11 o'clock, and about 11:01, I get paid. And the report itself looks a little something like this. Let's see, where is that report? So here's the inspection report. So there's the report. I scratched out the confidential stuff. Some general information, what really matters in a home inspection. What really matters is like 4 things. And agents love this article, and I put it in every inspection report. The 4 things that matter the most are major defects. Example of this would be a structural defect or a hole in the roof. Second thing would be something that leads to a major defect, right? Like a small water leak coming from a roof flashing that should be repaired before it makes a major problem. And things that may hinder the ability to finance or occupy or insure the home, like termite infestation and safety hazards, such as GFCI protection, right? And we had all these things in this home. So I put that article so that my clients aren't overwhelmed by all this information I'm providing, and they can focus their attention on what really matters during a home inspection. And real estate agents really appreciate that. So here's my report. Pictures of good things and bad things. A half a dozen pictures or so on every report. There's the fireplace and the chimney. Mortar joints need to be repaired. There's the flashing issue with the very wide chimney in the back. And for you folks that are looking at Facebook, this is a live online class through Nachi TV, NACHI.TV, so you can't see what we're looking at. If you're registered for the class, you can just click a link and join us. So the kickout flashing is recommended. There's the exterior, the window well, remember it was clogged dirty, and the driveway is all messed up, and there's wood rot and paint and things like that. Cracked concrete and frost-free hose bibs are needed, and GFCI protection needed, and doorbell didn't ring. There's the garage, receptacles are needed. There's the heating system. So the way I inspect is the way I speak, and the way I do my inspection process, and the way I write my inspection reports. I inspect the system as a whole, and then I move in closer and inspect every component in the same way for every home. And when there's a problem, I identify it in red, all caps, bold, and I make a recommendation for it to be repaired. So here's the heating system, and then I move to components like the thermostat, electric shut-off switch, the exterior condition, the oil fire burner, the circulator pump, the damper, relief valve, expansion tank, pressure and temperature gauge, service record, and then an observation, which is there's an active water leak at the boiler, at the air valve on top of the boiler that needs to be repaired by a professional. All of my recommendations, even if it's monitoring a certain thing, because I'm not sure if it's going to fail or not, is in all caps, in red, and bolded in my report, right? I don't use color. What does green mean? What does blue mean? I don't know. Red means, I think everyone knows, like stop, take a look, pay attention, this is serious, even if it's a monitoring or improvement or major correction needed. Plumbing, cast iron pipes need to be corrected, major defect. Electrical, remember the sheathing on the outside, that needs to be fixed. The basement, there's wood destroying damage, wood destroying insect, apparent wood destroying insect damage. The attic, poor insulation, needs to be air sealed and insulated. In the bathrooms, a couple things here and there that needs to be improved. Plumbing access panel wasn't involved, and the window lock was missing, and needs GFCI protection, etc. And the laundry. So as you can see in my report, sometimes I'll do a system like HVAC, like heating system, air conditioning system, but then I'll group like the interior together, bathrooms are grouped, and then the entire interior is grouped together. And then the garage, I handle that as a separate section. And there's the kitchen, so that's a room. So it's a combination of systems and rooms in my report. And missing GFCI protection, and that's about it. Oh, a crack. There's a cracked window pane there at the basement. And a little note that we prefer our clients to be with us. My client wasn't here. So I did a really good report with a lot of pictures and a video, and it's 45 pages long. And at the end, there's a letter to the seller saying that we wore indoor shoes only. We opened and closed stuff. We inspected about 500 things. We tried to put everything back. Sorry if we didn't do a great job at that, but we tried. Please feel free to contact us if you know anyone who needs an inspection or if you're moving and looking for an inspection. And then at 11:01, amazingly, it only took 3 hours, I get paid a lot of money. $3.96 for my home inspection, but I feel like I've wasted my time if I don't do an ancillary inspection. So we did about 3 out of 4 home inspections had a radon test, and 1 out of 2, half of them, did a radon and a wood-destroying organism inspection. The other ones were mold, water quality, and lead. So try to do those ancillary inspections. If the ancillary inspection, like a home energy report through Internachi, if you do a home energy report, it only takes a few minutes after the inspection. I've demonstrated that in other classes. So if you do a home energy report and it only takes a few more minutes, that's a pretty good ancillary inspection. You could charge more for that. And ancillary is where profit is and extra value for your clients, because you're providing them with extra information without adding to your time. If you need help with processing credit cards, Internachi has nachi.org/merchant to get a free merchant account. And I think that's it. We nailed it in 2 hours. Let me take a look at some questions. Would you recommend more attic ventilation? Not for that house. I saw soffit vents, gable vents, and a power fan, and I didn't find any reason to recommend additional ventilation. I may mention about modern ventilation or something like that if I find evidence of problems, but I didn't. Will an infrared camera find bugs' nests, termites, or ants? I did find termites within a wall once when I was inspecting it, and it was such an odd thing. There was a warm area and within a wall, and later on it was opened up and it was termite infestation. It's kind of fun, but without tearing something open and confirming the infestation, I wouldn't have said that. Just by the, I don't like to interpret what I see in my infrared camera without knowing a little bit of some more information. Like, that's why I carry the moisture meter. If I think there's moisture intrusion being presented to me in my infrared camera screen, well, I want to confirm that. I'm not going to say anything until I confirm it. If I confirm it, then I'll put that image in the report. Does the garage outlet have to be within distance of the garage door opener? I don't know of any code like that. I know all garage receptacles need to be GFCI protected. You can't use an extension cord in between the garage door opener and the outlet, right? So maybe that's what you're referring to. Where can we find a copy of What Really Matters page? You can email me and I can send that to you. I don't have the URL, but that's a great question. And I am that's my email address, education@internachi.org. Just send me an email of whatever you need. Is there a way to download and print What Really Matters? Yeah, yep. You can copy paste and put that text on your website. Everybody needs a website. If you don't have a website, do that now. And I can show you how to build and host your own website in about 8 hours of work for free using simple drop-down menus, drag and drop stuff. If you can write a home inspection report, you can build your own website. Don't feel obligated to hire anybody for thousands of dollars to do your own website or hundreds of dollars a month. There are companies out there. I've taught about this. I've demonstrated about that. Our last online class was about how to build a website for your home inspection business for free. Beautiful website that conveys your value and your brand and helps you schedule online while you're sleeping. And I can help you with that. Just email me. Have you ever had a house so dangerous that you had to stop the inspection? Nope. I once took off a dead front cover and the wiring looked so odd. It looked like it exploded and scorched. And I saw the dead front, the back side of it had scorch marks. And I wasn't able to put the dead front back on because I thought something was going on there. Something was touching and sparking and arched and all that stuff, arcs and all that stuff. So I let the dead front off of the thing. I put it on the laundry table. It was right there. And I made sure that the laundry room was locked and tagged, do not enter, until the electrician came. So it wasn't a whole house. It was just a system where I thought it was just unsafe for anyone to get near it. What reporting program would you recommend me to use? I like any software that's easy to use, that has a feature to do pictures and video easy, and that recognize Internachi members and gives them a discount. And you can find those software companies on inspectoroutlet.com. That's our e-commerce partner. Let me type that for you. Inspectoroutlet.com. You click the left side navigation tab that says software. I have used HomeGauge, love HomeGauge. I've used Home Inspector Pro, love Home Inspector Pro. I have used Spectora. I'm actually learning Spectora. It's a software that I currently like. When I like a software, I talk about it and I learn about it, and then we'll do a video on it. So in the upcoming months, before the end of the year, I'll do a home inspection using that software, and we'll record and put it online and show everybody how to use it. But yeah, it's I don't care what software you use. I highly recommend that the software be mobile. You have to have that mobility in your software so you can inspect and write the report at the same time. You're more efficient, you reduce your liability. There's so many advantages to writing your report while you inspect. People are asking me about software. What would you do when the buyer asks you, would you buy the house? I don't answer that question. And then I just laugh. You know, I'm here to give you enough information so that you can make that decision, right? And I want to make sure that you have that service. So do you have enough information to make that? You know, I want to make sure that I'm doing a good job. Because if you're unable to make a decision based upon what I'm saying, maybe I'm not communicating well enough to you, or you're hung up on something, right? Remember, there's hardly anything you can say to kill the deal, no matter what, you know, other people or real estate agents say. There's hardly anything you can do and say that will kill this deal, and I'll tell you why. Your client, who you meet for the first time at the inspection, has spent months getting to that point. They have found a real estate agent. They have traveled around with that real estate agent. They have visited many homes. They have found a neighborhood, found a school system that they love for their kids. They have gotten approved for a loan. They're ready to go. Everything's in order. They go to the house. They see it without you. They fall in love with it. They put in a bid. It's accepted. They come with you on the day of the inspection to see it again. They have fallen in love with the house. There's hardly anything you can say. A GFCI is not going to kill this deal. A roof leak is not going to kill this deal. A water problem, even a heating system that doesn't work. What's that? $5,000? Big deal. It's a $300,000, $500,000 home. This is not. I can't think of anything that I could say that would kill this deal. Right? Would you buy this home? No, it's not me. I don't like colonial homes or something. That shouldn't stop you. You're already here. You've fallen in love with the house, right? All I'm doing is providing you with information that you can use probably after you move in. You're going to handle this. Unless you can negotiate some of the things that I find that should be fixed prior to you moving in, maybe some money down or getting the homeowner to fix it yourself. I would actually personally, I bought a home, found problems. I waited until I got home in there and fixed them myself because I wanted them fixed right. So a little bit of negotiation and we got in. So I love the home. I don't care what was wrong with it. I'm moving in. Just tell me what's wrong with it so that when I do move in, I can fix this stuff. That's kind of like how I see my role. So whenever you hear a real estate agent say something about killing a deal or something or being soft in the inspection report, you don't want to deal with them anymore. Fire that real estate agent, fire that professional, tell that roofer you don't know what you're talking about, right? And that we are not code inspectors and we're not alarmists. We're just gathering information and providing that information in a concise package for my client that values being provided that information so that they can make a smart decision. That's it. It has nothing to do with going to the closing. I don't even care if the house is for sale. I'm going to inspect it in the same way, right? I would inspect my neighbor's home in the same way as someone's home in a real estate transaction 20 miles away. A total stranger, right? I'm going to inspect it according to standards of practice. Make sure everything's functioning, everything's safe. If there isn't something working, I'm going to put it in the report. Major material defect, I'm going to put that in the report. By the way, all of your neighbors should know that you're the home inspector. All of my neighbors know that I'm the home inspector. In my cul-de-sac, 20 homes, I think, everybody knows who to go to. When we had a major weather event just recently, I got out my infrared, my FLIR C2. This is the infrared I recommend, FLIR C2, right? Don't buy really expensive cameras, especially just your first camera, right out of the chute. No, that one through Inspector Outlet with a membership discount, 400, 500 bucks, something like that. All my neighbors know I have a FLIR infrared camera and a moisture meter. And we did everyone's basement. I did everyone's basement in a couple days. Got it done over a weekend. Yep. Everybody knows that I'm the home inspector. Whoever's buying or selling a house, they call me and I make recommendations to home inspectors. Guess what I have to do? You better have a website because I tell them, go visit their website. You choose. This is what who I recommend, but you choose. Go visit their website. If you don't have a website, you're not even on the radar. Don't even wonder why your phone isn't ringing. Who would go to a restaurant without looking at the website first? Who would go to a movie without watching the preview of the movie first? You should have video previews of your company. It's just like going to a movie and buying a ticket. I want to see the preview. This is really important. Hiring a home inspector, I want to see some kind of preview. Give me some. How are you going to do that without a website? You got to have a website. You don't have to pay for it. I can show you how to do your own website, build and host it, no cost, free, zero money, right? They're crazy out there. These companies, I don't know how they do it, but they'll give you the tools to build your own website, host it for free, absolutely free. They're counting on you to upgrade, and then pay at most. I think a professional website is $9 a month. $9 a month. That's it. Yeah, I definitely do a website. And I've taught about classes, so I've classes on this before. Again, I've gotten off the topic. Joshua, when you say client wasn't present, does that mean not on site or not just with you? If the client isn't on site, how do you get paid? Okay, so I get paid after the inspection. That was my thing. If my client isn't there, We get their credit card and we process it after the inspection, after they receive the inspection report. If my client isn't with me, I put that in the report, right? If my client is on site but doesn't want to walk around with me, that's okay. I don't mention that really. I mention when my client hires me and can't get to the inspection that's scheduled and walk around with me, because that helped me later on explain, Your Honor, what has happened. My client did not show up at the inspection. That would have been an opportunity for them to tell me what they actually wanted me to do at that particular inspection. That was beyond the scope of the home inspection. They missed that opportunity. I performed the home inspection according to the standards of practice, so there's a disconnect there, right? I can't be responsible for that. That's what happened, right? So now I make sure that I identify everyone who's on site using my software. You can take a picture of your clients too, and take a picture of everybody, but that's okay. And then I make sure that's in the report, that they missed an opportunity to do a few things, like ask questions while we're here, right? Also, if you have a moment, could you survey everyone and ask, oh yeah, Adolfo, sorry, I forgot. Hey, we should post on the forum so you can have a longer discussion than this, because I'm going to wrap up in about 2 minutes. So post on the forum, what financial software do you use for your business? Quicken, QuickBooks, other types of software out there. What do you use? And somebody start a thread and then see where it goes. So look for a thread on the nachi.org forum, nachi.org/forum, and talk about what financial software you use. I'm actually familiar with Quicken and QuickBooks. Do you price ancillary systems items differently if they ask to do them after you've completed your inspection or at another time? Well, we had packages together and we had things separate. So you could buy a mold inspection after I start the home inspection. That's no big deal, because in here, this is from our marketing department. There's some really cool rack cards. And it says, let me just read it. So if you don't know how to sell an ancillary inspection while you're doing a home inspection, say you're doing a home inspection, you're disappointed that you're doing only a home inspection, you want to do other ancillary inspections because that's where some profit is, you can just read these things. Oops. It says, what's it say? Let me test your home for radon. And they'll go, what? Yeah. Why? Well, you cannot see, smell, or taste radon, but it may be a problem in your home. Although radon is naturally occurring gas in the environment, it's cancer-causing, radioactive gas, second leading causing lung cancer deaths in the United States. So I know you didn't order a radon test, but I'm here. My radon kit is right outside. Oh, look at that water. See the water staining in the carpet and down in the basement? Well, mold, did you know that mold damages what it grows on? Really? Yeah, and the longer it grows, the more damage it can cause. So let me inspect your home for mold. And there's more things that you could say. While you're thinking about that, you'd say, while I'm doing the attic inspection, here, I'll give you this card to think about it. Because while I'm here, it doesn't cost me anything. While I'm here, I can do a mold sample for you, get the results in a couple of days from the laboratory in ProLab in Florida. They could do the laboratory results and get it back real quick. Yeah? Or I could do a radon test. They're doing a radon test? Oh, in Colorado, 1 out of 2 homes have elevated levels of radon. So I might as well do a radon test. Well, whatever you want to do. I'm not selling it. I'm just here. Just read this. The rack card from IAC2. I'm IAC2 certified. And take a look and see if you want me to do any other ancillary services. And here's a flyer about all of our ancillary services if you're interested. Or maybe you don't know, but I also offer this, a buyback guarantee on every inspection. And that means if I ever miss anything, Internachi will buy the home back. Really? Yeah. And I kind of like to say that in front of all the real estate agents. You know, it's all about marketing, providing really good services, overwhelming value, and it's like a fun game on how you do it in relation to your marketing. Remember, your brand is who you are and what distinguishes you from all the rest, like we talked about, stepping forward. And your marketing is what you do to convey that message out there. All right. That was 2 hours and 15 minutes or so. If you are registered through Nachi TV, you'll receive a link to the video recording. And if you are interested in building a business, if you're brand new, go to inspectorcoach.com. I recommend that particular coach. She does not have any secrets. There's a download of 8 steps to building a successful home inspection business. I highly suggest downloading that guide and registering for one of her free orientation webinars. She has them all the time. And yeah, thank you, everybody. And I'll see you next time on Nachi TV, NACHI.TV. All right, everybody. I'm Ben Gromicko from Internachi. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. We're the world's largest organization of residential and commercial property inspectors. And I'll see you next time.